On this podcast, you'll find interviews with high-performing, successful individuals in life sciences. On a weekly basis, we cover their proven methods, principles, strategies, and mindsets to implement new technologies that scale to meet the needs of people in our world.
Welcome to this episode of Life Science Success. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Don, and I'm a digital marketer in life sciences. So before we get started with today's podcast, I just wanted to play a quick message from our sponsor.
Episode of Life Science Success is brought to you by D3 Digital Media Marketing. Dive into the digital world with confidence and creativity on your side. D3 Digital Media Marketing is your all-in-one solution for making a lasting impact online. From the vibrant, engaging world of social media marketing, podcasts and webinars, to the strategic depths of website development, SEO, pay-per-click, email, and content marketing, we tailor our approach to fit your unique brand story. Let's elevate your presence, connect with your audience, and drive success together. Your digital journey starts here. Visit d3digitalmedia.com to learn more.
In this episode of Life Science Success, I'm interviewing Artug Acar. He's the Chief Operations at Mercury, who shares insights on transforming logistics in life sciences and healthcare sectors. So with that, welcome, Artug. How are you?
Good morning, Don. Happy to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. And, we don't talk a lot about logistics, but it plays an important role, I feel like, in our space. And so I'm looking forward to the conversation as well. Would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself to the listeners and tell them a little bit about what in your journey led you to be the operations manager at Mercury?
Yeah, of course. I'm originally from Turkey. I was born in Turkey, raised in Turkey. And then I went to grad school in Turkey. I studied engineering, mechanical engineering. Then I went to grad school in Istanbul for vehicle dynamics. And then I came to the US in 2006 for grad school again. And then since then, I've been living in Boston. I went to Northeastern. Then I started working here. I moved into software development, even though my background was in mechanical. And then I moved to more on to the management side, first product management, and now I'm really on the management side of the business. I worked in software development companies, MathWorks in Boston. Then I moved to Amazon Robotics. That's how I got into logistics and automation, actually. And that really puts together my mechanical engineering background and the software development. So that was a great fit at the time. I moved to Symbotic, a few startups in Boston area. And most recently, I joined Mercury in 2022. And since then, I joined as the VP of product to build a logistics platform for Mercury. And then currently, I'm the Chief Operating Officer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you were at Mercury through the pandemic. It must have been a really interesting time to try and work out what you could and couldn't do during the pandemic, I would imagine as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, pandemic had a big impact on Mercury and our clients. So there were lots of COVID tests, especially for schools. It was a challenging time for everyone. I'm glad we went through that phase. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I, as rough as the pandemic was, I think that there were probably, things that tested parts of companies that, otherwise wouldn't have gotten tested as well. But given kind of your experience and the diversity in the background that you currently have as well, how does that impact the way that you approach things currently at Mercury?
Yeah, Mercury was actually founded in 1984, so it's not a new startup. It's an established company, and the new owner acquired the company in 2020. Since then, it's in a transformation phase, and it's an evolution, basically. And there are so many challenges that need to be resolved. So, and I would like to take those challenges that my engineering background really helps me to solve problems in a systematic way. I think that's the strength. And my product management background is really helping me to focus on the client, what the client would really care, and how can we help them better. So when the two comes together, it worked out pretty well so far. Uh, and there are more challenges ahead of us. We are solving them one at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it has to come in handy having such a diverse background, being able to solve, a variety of challenges at different times. Can you
Right.
tell
And
us? Go ahead.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Life science is a very niche business. So I mean, it takes time to really learn the requirements, the needs of our clients. It's not as easy as it looks from outside. There are so many details that you need to care.
Yeah. And I think that's part of picking a successful partner, right? Is that the easier it does look from the outside, the better the partner's probably doing in managing some of the
Right.
chaos that's actually happening as well.
Right. Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit more about, about how you do support healthcare and life sciences companies?
Yeah. So Mercury is operating in three markets in healthcare life sciences. We divided into three markets. These are medical devices. These are like MRI machines or machines that test your blood if you have cancer or other things. And then diagnostic kits. These are the kits that test different types of kits. This is the one actually that tests blood to diagnose if you have cancer. And then the third one is the life science research. This starts with the research phase, and then it moves into the clinical trial phase, and then it moves into pharmaceutical mass production. So we operate in those three markets. We offer services globally. We are based in Boston, but we can ship to and from any country in any location. And like we have a dedicated team. We call them squads. So when you work with us, you are assigned to a team. When you call, it's not just anybody answering the phone. Your team answers the phone. You know that person. That really differentiates Mercury than you are calling a 1-800 number or someone that you have never talked about. They know you really well. I even call this more like insourcing. They become your team. And then we augment this services solution with the technology that we built. That's the platform. And that's why we call it a tech-enabled services company. Then our clients can do everything really digitally. This is part of digital transformation. They can go, ship, track, pay, and do everything that they can within that platform. And on top of that, you can't solve everything with the technology. Humans are still required. People would like to talk to people. So that's why we keep that squad model aside together with our technology.
Yes, I would imagine it's critically important as well. In terms of the types of things that you support. So I just need to ask a couple of additional questions because you mentioned some things that did trigger whether or not if you handle these sort of things. So you said on the medical equipment side you ship medical equipment. So I mean to me that's fairly straightforward, correct?
It is. It's still challenging, but yes, for the most part, it's not as complicated as a cold chain shipment.
That's what I was going to bring up next. Yes,
Right,
exactly.
right,
Okay.
correct.
Yep.
Yes. Cold chain shipment is a big challenge. If everything goes perfectly well, no problem, right? You put the dry ice, you have the carrier, they pick up, they transfer, you know how much dry ice, it arrives, you are good. But nothing really goes perfect in logistics. There's always a bottleneck. Even if you do everything right, and we do, at the end it goes through customs if it's international shipment. And you never know what might happen in customs. Every country has a different requirement. The requirements change. And if they want to keep it for another day, you either need to anticipate that it's going to happen because you have done this many times with this country, their customs is slow. Or when it happens, you need to have a countermeasure. You should be able to replenish the dry ice. To be able to do that, you need to have people in those airports. So it's a full operational challenge. We do it really well. That's why we are like dedicated in that healthcare life science business. It's niche, time and temperature sensitive. And you need to monitor the temperature. You can't just say, I think it was okay. These are like critical shipments. It's not like you are shipping your phone or a piece of cloth. So we can monitor the shipment throughout this journey. We can even report it real time back to our clients so they can see the temperature variation. They can detect the location of their shipment, and our teams can watch. And what we do is, because we have been doing this for so long, we know if something is going to get delayed, if there is a bottleneck, even before it happens. We monitor the weather changes, we monitor flights. If this flight gets delayed, we know the other one will get delayed, our shipment will get delayed. We need to reach out to our agent will replenish. So like everyone needs to be very well coordinated, and that shipment needs to be in that destination, at that destination, maybe 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So you need to make adjustments throughout the shipment. You can't just sit back and wait. So that makes it more challenging and exciting.
Yeah, I think cold chain, managing cold chain has got to be an interesting, challenge, given all of weather. I'm sure is one thing, but also natural disasters. I mean, it seems like every time that you turn around, there's something going on in Iceland with a volcano over there, and
Right.
it definitely impacts things. Yeah, and just even all of the conflicts that are going on in the world as well. I would imagine it's
Oh,
all
yeah.
a challenge throughout time.
Correct. You need to make adjustments all the time. And to be able to do that, you need to have prior data, experience. Yes.
So, what are some of the innovative projects or strategies Mercury's currently working on to enhance logistics solutions?
Yeah. About 2.5 years ago, we started digital transformation. Most companies are going through this phase. We also took the initiative at the time. And we used to have a platform for our clients, but it was developed in 90s and it wasn't the state of art technology. And now we are building one. We actually built it, we released it, our clients use it, but its software development never ends. For in that technology, initially the basics should be covered. Like you should be able to initiate the shipment, you should be able to figure out what shipment is the best for you, and then the tool will help you to choose the best option. If they can't, squads are always ready to help. Once the shipment is triggered, you can track the shipment, you can get notifications if it gets stuck in the customs, if documentation is missing, or if one information is missing in the document. Then we can reach out to our clients, then they can do everything digitally. When it's done, they can pay for their shipments. It's a full suite of solutions. And we are building AI technology inside the platform. So then, before something happens, we try to anticipate based on prior data. This can be a flight delay, it can be a weather change. So then we notify our squads first if they need to take an action. Then we notify our clients. That's something unique in the industry. I know other companies are trying to do similar, working on similar solutions. This will be our proprietary machine learning solution in logistics. And then there are new things that may come. Blockchain is another one. Blockchain is, it really provides so many capabilities beyond what most people know. Like it's not just cryptocurrency. There's a lot that you can do with blockchain. Then we are gonna go into that domain. There is a lot to be done, to be honest, but we release them pretty much every day. We have a continuous release cycle. We have a team in Turkey. So the reason is I am from Turkey, so we built a team in Turkey, very dedicated team. So that's the biggest tech project ahead of us, innovation.
Very good. And it's one of the things that I read about you is that you've been recognized as a leader transforming manufacturing in North America. Can you talk about some of the key initiatives or innovations that you've led or contributed to that led to the recognition?
Mhm. Yeah. Yes, I was recognized. To be honest, I shouldn't get the full credit for everything we have done. It was always a team. I'm glad they recognized my effort as well. I was at Amazon. We worked on a really large scale automation solutions at the time. So Amazon Robotics Kiva Systems was acquired in 2012. I joined Amazon Robotics in 2014, and it was still a smaller solution within Amazon. And then we expanded it to multiple warehouses, hundreds of thousands of robots. It's very different than running a few robots in a couple of warehouses. So that was a big step forward. Then I moved to Symbotic. At Symbotic, similar warehouse automation solution, a very different solution, to be honest. I was working with a client, one of the largest retail companies in the US. We built an end-to-end solution for them, and we hit the acceptance criteria in a couple of years. So that was a big achievement. It's still going on. It's growing within that retail company. So that was a big achievement. Then before Mercury, I was at Right Hand Robotics. At Right Hand, now the problem seems smaller scale-wise. It's piece picking, like robots picking items from the bins and putting it into either another tote or into a box that we get when we order something. But it's actually extremely challenging, even though the scale seems small, because this is not a uniform tote. It can be anything in that box, and you should be able to still pick in any orientation and place it without damaging the items. So we went through multiple phases. The startup is doing really well. It's one of the best piece picking solutions I've ever seen, to be honest, because reliability matters the most. Anyone can build a proof of concept. Like, that's super easy. You can even go to a grad school in the lab, buy a few grippers and then a robotic arm. You can mimic. Uh, but when it comes to real automation system in a real warehouse, real world solution, that brings so many different challenges that you do not anticipate in a lab environment. So for all those reasons, Right Hand did a great job. They actually signed an agreement with Staples recently, and they are growing. So I think all of these contributed to that award. But again, it wasn't. It's a group team effort. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, and congratulations to you on that as well. So,
Thank you.
what's the greatest leadership advice that you've ever received?
um, Greatest leadership advice. I think leading by example and empathy. For some people, empathy comes naturally, but you can also learn. And leading by example rather than telling people how to do things and what to do. If you show them without telling them, they see how you do things. Especially more junior people are more inclined to mimic their managers if you build trust and if they like you as a human being. So that's why, and then you don't need to really tell them. And empathy is really helping leaders and myself to build trust. Once we establish that, the rest is really easy. Yeah. There's actually a book called Speed of Trust. Like when you build that trust, you can really make things a lot faster. You don't need to really argue, and you don't need to argue with people a lot because they trust you.
Yeah, I feel like it's well, trust and empathy are both big sort of things that are really needed in successful teams anyway. And
Mhm.
oftentimes I kind of reflect on my own journey as well in leading people. Oftentimes my mind would go to the goal, and then whenever things would happen with people personally, as you go through things, you eventually have to, sort of circle back and be supportive as well,
Mhm.
as a leader. People are people, and things happen, and we have to still,
Right.
figure a way forward. But at the same time, you can sort of, also support the people that work for you as well. So thank you for
Oh yeah,
sharing that.
absolutely. I mean, exactly true. And yesterday, actually, I was talking to my mid-level managers. Once a month, I meet with them. I hear the problems, and then I also provide kind of training, internal training. And yesterday was more about situational leadership. And there's a book called Goldman Leadership Styles.
Mhm.
So, and there are 6 leadership styles, from coercive leadership to all the way coaching style. And a good leader should probably be able to switch between multiple leadership styles as needed. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the things that, I mean, if you look at that leadership, or the situational leadership curve, kind of
Mhm.
shows the same thing, that, hey, look, there are times whenever you need to be able to play in different categories of leadership, in
Right.
support of your people, but also so that your message gets translated across. And I feel like, it's one of those things that, let's just say, as an example, with the podcast here, we could have a lot of Zoom meetings and things like that, but still having
Mhm.
that personal connection, and being able to truly relate to somebody is something that,
Mhm.
is in that same sort of switching method. I feel like with the situational leadership.
Right. It's like raising a child. They trust you as a parent, and then uh, your style may change. Sometimes you are more supportive, sometimes you tell them what to do, how to do things. So it's not very different, to be honest.
Yeah, right. What inspires you?
What inspires me? Well, as an engineer, solving problems is always something that inspires me. Overcoming challenges at the end of the day. I'm not someone who can just sit back, and I'm not as laid back. So that's why I joined Mercury to overcome those challenges, solving problems. And then when you see you solve one problem, then you move to the next problem. That's really very satisfying, seeing the results. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what concerns you?
I will go back to trust again. So losing trust is very important, or very critical, or something that really concerns me. Losing trust within friends, family, and at work, within your group. When you say something, you should really mean it, and you can't always. That's why I try not to promise things if I'm not 100% sure that's gonna happen. uh, that's one thing that really concerns me. And then the well-being of the employees, of course. Without them, you can't really do anything. If you don't support them, if you don't grow them. So yeah, trust comes first.
I feel like it's very, once you lose trust, I feel like it's very hard to get back as well. This is not
Right.
an easy path. It's one of those things where you have to really, as a leader, then sort of put your thinking hat on in terms of how do I shift things to gain trust back. And
Right.
sometimes it's just not possible, right? I mean, if it's
Right.
damaged enough, it's just not possible either.
Yeah. I mean, being authentic, being genuine is the first thing. Everyone can make a mistake. It's not that we are not going to make mistakes, or we are not making mistakes. We make lots of mistakes. We learn from our mistakes. We acknowledge those mistakes. That's also part of the way you build trust within your organization. And then that actually ties it to the initial point: lead by example. When you
Mhm.
make a mistake, when you accept your mistake, and when you are vocal about it, then other people do the same. They don't hide things. They say, okay, I made a mistake. Here's what I'm going to do next, because this is what my boss does. He makes mistakes. He acknowledges them. He's not perfect. I'm not perfect. So, like, that helps to grow the organization, to grow your people, and to build the culture that you really want to see in your organization. Like today, Mercury has about 87, 89 people. I know every single person in the company. I even know their kids' names, but like 4 or 5 years down the road, I may not even know them. And the mid-level managers, their managers, should really grow their leaders, should really spread the same culture across the board, because it can't always be top down. But I think so far we are doing a good job.
Very good. Last question. What excites you?
What excites me? Growing people. I always like to teach all along. Anything that I know, I'm eager to teach someone. Like yesterday, I had a 1 hour meeting with the mid-level managers in the company, and I was sharing situational leadership approaches, what it means, how they can use it. When I see them growing and become really successful in their job, it's really satisfying. And some people, I work with them for many years, and I see them where they started and where they end up, and that's super satisfying as a leader. Yeah.
Yeah, so important.
Yes.
Well, Artug, thank you so much for being on the Life Science Success Podcast. I appreciate you being here and for telling us about Mercury. It's great to have you on the show, and I wish you the greatest success both in growing your people as well as growing the organization. So,
Great. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you for listening to Life Science Success. For complete details about this podcast, including show notes, how to get in touch with guests, and more episodes, please visit www.lifesciencesuccess.com. If there's someone you'd like for us to invite to the show as a guest, please let me know by sending me a message at the podcast website. Please click subscribe on your favorite podcast app, share the podcast, or tell a friend about it, and last but not least, rate the podcast. Thank you again.